But I'm very excited to start with our first guest, and that is the young ball coach of the Greenwich Cardinals, and that's Mr. John Marinelli. Johnny, thank you for taking time with us today.
I appreciate you having us on, Frank. Congrats to you in the new role. Looking forward to it.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Coach, you guys have had a lot of success this summer, and you've got a tournament that you're actually heading up to right now, but I want to go back first, and let's go to last weekend. You guys were at the SUNY Stony Brook 7-on-7 tournament. You advanced to the elimination playoff before falling to Cardinal Hayes. What did your team do well this past weekend?
What did we were just executing the little things. We went down and, for 7-on-7s to me is a chance to get everybody reps, not just your starters. So we had one potential starter on defense there or on our depth chart right now. So to be able to do what we have been able to do all summer long with a slew of different people just shows, I think, the depth and the amount that the program is coming back a little bit just in terms of numbers. So kids are really buying into the new coaching staff. They're really buying into what we're doing here. So I think that's what it shows more than anything.
And you talk about how this group of kids is buying in. Let's talk about this senior class, because anytime you go through a coaching transition, there's going to be a little bit of some growing pains and a bit of that rebuilding period. And last year's season for you guys, by Greenwich standards, was definitely a disappointment of a year. You've had a lot of success this summer. What is this class doing differently to really buy in and buy into this system that you guys are preaching?
They're working. They're here this summer. They're getting on each other for not being in the weight room, for not being at conditioning and 7-on-7s, and we had a large number of kids show up to spring football, and if coaches have to constantly hound players to be there and want to be there, you're not going to be successful. I think this senior group, and a tribute to my captains who have done a phenomenal job of making sure that number one, it's fun, number two, that we're working hard, and number three, that just the atmosphere in which we create as a staff, that the kids and the captains and the senior leadership is, trying to rub off on all the younger classmen too. So more than anything else, it's just, my senior leaders, my captains, who have just done an outstanding job in high school, as you know, Frank, and just, it's all about senior leadership, and it's all, especially at bigger programs. And if you can get those kids to set the example for the younger classmen, it really sparks a program for years.
And we actually had the privilege of meeting your senior captains at the New Canaan High School Grip It and Rip It passing tournament. John, you're obviously an integral part of that tournament, going back to your days when you were the offensive coordinator at New Canaan. I thought that might have been the best 7-on-7 tournament you guys played all summer. You advanced to the top, final 8 teams. You were even able to knock off Darien in the first time you guys played. You did all of that, your players did all of that while you're unable to coach them. I don't want to say you were surprised, but were you impressed at the success your team had that weekend?
Yeah, very. I mean, it's fun when you get them all together. It's fun to see, watch what they're capable of when they play together. And I think that's what 7-on-7s is about. It's not about the schemes, and it's not about if your starting quarterback can be there, or your receivers, or whatever coaches do to make excuses not to participate in them. Our program goes to them for team building, to be put in situations, whether they're real or not, so they're going to face adversity. They're going to have to communicate with each other. They're going to lose games. They're going to win games. How do you do it? How to learn to do it with each other. And, we had a rough Friday, and they came back together and made a run of it on Saturday to Grip It and Rip It. And, for them to do it on their own is even better, because, it really shows, again, the leadership in which 7-on-7s has created. You have a platform now where your leaders can lead in the summer, and it's not just in the weight room, and it's not just at morning runnings, and it's now in a I don't want to call it a real football, but it's in a platform where those kids can lead in a football related event where they're doing football specific activity without coaches. So that to me is the biggest takeaway. And we played in, I think, 5 7-on-7s. We finished in the top 5 in 4 of the 5, and I guess today will be our 6th. So Again, but it's the kids have fun, and we ask them if they want to go, and the kids organize it, and they put it all together. So the fact that we're in this many and we're doing so well in that many is a tribute to captains and senior leadership. I think it all goes back to that.
And you talked about a sixth tournament this weekend. We'll get to that in a second, but just as someone who appreciates the game of football, you bring up such great points, John, that your kids are so invested in buying into this at a time when lacrosse has really dominated summer sports, especially at the high school level. It's so impressive to see, and it's what really stands out about this Greenwich group right now, coming off the season they did last year, to be as highly invested as they are and as dedicated to growing through the system and really progressing off the record from last year.
Yeah, I mean, and we have a lot of multiple sport athletes. Baseball is huge in Greenwich. We have a very good baseball team and a very good baseball coach. Lacrosse, obviously, very big. Rugby, very big. Basketball on the rise. So all of our kids play multiple sports. And with the summer schedule the way it is, you look at it, it's like, oh my God, he played in 6 7-on-7s. That's crazy. It's like, well, I probably have kids that have only played in 2 or 3 or one of them, and just having that many on the schedule, it allows those kids to kind of pick and choose which ones they can go to in their summer schedule when they do have summer lacrosse and summer baseball. And we're I'm a multiple sport guy. I think I played 3 sports in high school. I know I take after my dad, who's a big believer in multiple sports. So again, I think our job is the summer is our preseason, and or our season before the season, and you have to be 50-50 with kids. You can't pull them in different directions. You want them to experience other sports. Football might be the only sport left out there outside a couple coaches that really want their kids to experience everything. It just seems like lacrosse coaches, baseball coaches, not in Greenwich, but outside of Greenwich, really want their kids to be with them full time. And I couldn't disagree with that more. I think they have to be multi-sport, multifaceted, be put in situations where they can succeed. That's not just in their main specific sport.
And it's a really great point. The idea of the specific athlete or being focused on one sport and specializing in that sport, it's almost a travesty to the state of youth sports right now, and especially at the high school level. The more sports you can play, the better you will be. Let's go back now. Your team just headed up to Massachusetts for the Under Armour Northeast 7-on-7 New England Championships. Truly a big honor for you guys to get there. How did you qualify for that tournament?
I was approached by the organizer up there who runs 4 tournaments that qualify for it, and I really like it. It was the first time that I personally gone to it because it's 40 teams in a South regional qualifier in Easton, Massachusetts at Oliver Ames High School. And I liked it because it was 39 other teams outside of the state of Connecticut and no one from New York. And, to get up there and play different competitions so you're not facing the same teams over and over when you go to these, local tournaments around here. It's about 3 hours away. We went up there and we, ended up finishing 3rd. And which is great out of 40 teams. So we qualified for it, and they gave us an automatic invitation to the New England Championship, which is they take all of their tournaments, the top 4 teams from each tournament. They come together today in Massachusetts, and they go back to pool play, and they ultimately take the one winner out of the best teams from the qualifying tournament. So we're excited. Our kids are on the way, and I know they're very excited about it. I think it's great for Connecticut football just to have a team participating in it. And obviously with Under Armour's name on it, it's obviously a really big event, and we're excited about it and honored to be there.
And John, we've got a picture of the tournament schedule and brackets up right now. We're just curious, what are your expectations from your team in this tournament? Even if it's not to win the tournament, but what do you hope your team gets out of playing against such high competition?
You never, any coach that tells you he wants to win 7-on-7s over. I mean, you never go to 7-on-7s to win. You go to get work, and you go for team bonding. An event like this, just the name New England Championship, I think puts everything into perspective for a kid. And they're going up there. We have 18 student athletes that are on the way up there to participate in this, and I really want them to take the experience away from it, having played playing in the the best tournament, or one of the best tournaments in New England, playing against the best competition from Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont, New Hampshire, and in Connecticut. So if they're playing the best, when they come back here and it's halftime of the game in the fall, and they're kind of struggling a little bit, I could say, you know what, you've played against better. You played against the best competition in New England, and no matter how well or bad they do today, the experience alone, the bonding, the camaraderie that's going to come out of an event like this, just the road trip up. Think about the conversations that are happening. Think about the conversations that are going to be happening on the way back between games when they're waiting and they're watching the other teams play. All those things are the intangible parts of 7-on-7s, and I think are positives for the sport and positives for your team in a building way. So that's kind of what I'm looking to do. I hope they do well. I'm not going to it. I'm not allowed to coach, but I really hope that they do well, and I hope they come together and a little bit more than they have already been this summer, and we'll see what happens.
And we've got a couple minutes left, John, here. I just want to shift gears quickly. You guys obviously have got some big renovation projects going on down at Cardinals Stadium. This is only your second year at the program, and being at a school with a lot of history and tradition like Greenwich, was this a difficult process to get going, to really start to redo a lot of this stuff that stood there for so long?
No, not difficult. I think everybody here wants, change. They want things to be a little bit different in Greenwich and, than what it used to be. We still don't have bathrooms at our stadium, and our stadium is disconnected from our school. So, little things like that along the way are going to be beneficial. We're redoing a surface. We'll have the only, it's an acrylic capsulated sand, which is the only team in the FCIAC that'll have that. So hopefully that's going to be an advantage for us. It's not exactly organic, but it's not the rubber pellets. So we felt that was a really good surface for us. It plays really fast, and we're getting a new, the new scoreboards in line to kind of, be in line with the New Canaans, Darians, and Staples of the world. So all those things are just part of the long-term plan, the stadium project here at Greenwich, which everyone's really excited about. And, right off Route 1, it is a really great venue. It's just a little bit outdated, and we have just people and our athletic director and that are doing a phenomenal job of little by little piecing it together to make it the experience that Greenwich deserves.
And I'm assuming that the kids are very excited for all of these changes that are happening.
Yeah, I mean, what Cardinals going in the middle of the field, Coach? What's going in the end zones? They're kids, so it's fun to hear them, the conversations in the locker room, hear the conversations in the weight room, and what they kind of expect. At the end of the day, it's a green turf field with white lines that have numbers on it, and eventually you got to cross the goal line to score points and win games. So for us, it's fun as coaches to sit back and hear the conversations. They're excited. I know that our seniors are very excited to see this change happen for them. So I'm excited for them. I'm excited for the senior class, which has done a great job so far. So, it's all excitement here in Greenwich. We're very excited about what the future holds, not only for the football team, but the athletic department and the community as well.
And we are very excited too. We hope to be there week 2 when Trinity comes to town. And, we looked at the schedules the other day. You guys have one of the toughest opening schedules. You take Trinity and Darien in weeks 2 and 3. You've got Trumbull early on. Obviously, New Canaan's on there. In such a competitive league, being in one of the more competitive divisions as well, John, how do you keep your players from looking ahead on that schedule and focusing on one game at a time?
Well, I think it's just that, one game at a time. We want this schedule. I'm upset that St. Joe's isn't on it and the other better teams in the other division. I would much rather play the best teams week in and week out. It's much easier to get your kids elevated to play it at a high level when they're playing against good competition and great teams like we have. So our kids will be ready. They'll be excited, and it's our job as coaches to get them ready to play those games. But from a player standpoint, you want to be in those games. Those are the games that you work out all off season for. So to have the toughest schedule, based on last year's records, to have the toughest schedule in the FCIAC has been a crying call for us, because there is no week off. There is no downtime. Every week is going to be a dogfight, and as a coach and player, that's kind of what you want. You want to be in those tough situations. Even last year, going 4-5, I loved knowing that we were going to play good competition, because it was much easier to get the kids up for those types of games.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day and coming on the air with us. We wish you guys the best of luck up at those regional championships, and we'll hope to see you soon and definitely on our FCIAC tour at the end of August.
I appreciate it, Frank, and congrats to you and everything that Han Network, HAN Network does for Fairfield County and everything else. It's incredible. So looking forward to the content you guys roll out in the fall, and congrats to you again.
Thank you again, Johnny. And that, of course, was head coach Johnny Marinelli of the Greenwich Cardinals.